Boy, this smile thing has got a haunt on me, of just analyzing it and people getting the wrong impression. Oh, haunting me like I've been hammered by the 80-10-10 crazy vegan Nazi crowd. I've been attacked by 30-something people that think I'm also a 30-something person that's on meth and too skinny and all that. None of that's like sort of haunted me more than this, because nothing could be further from the truth. So that first 24 seconds, I was trying to think of all the things that made me happy. And I feel happiness and joy and love deep. And so when I think about the things that really are like very joyous to me, I know that if I think deeply on those things would make me cry, tears of joy. And so what I was thinking, like, what I was thinking about was that I see smiles as fake. And so with me, I can't force a smile. So anyways, in that 24 seconds at the beginning of where I'm just sitting there looking like I'm on drugs or in a trance or something, one thing I know very much big time is that certain music makes me very, very happy when I hear it. So I was thinking about what...
This song by Eat Static, Ocean of Fire, which is what's playing at the first 24 seconds there. And by the way, that is the song of the day, and I'll talk about that a little more at the end.
That makes me very happy. And when I'm feeling that kind of happiness there, it's like goosebumps. And it's like, ooh, I'm getting it right now just thinking about it. So that's... And I was thinking, if you wanted to see me happy and really smiling, I'm in that state, but I don't get in that state when I'm listening to music. And if I was dancing, then I would be like, ooh, I'm just getting all goosebumpy just thinking about it. So I'm a very deep person. Plus, I want to point out to you that in this format, the wheels are always turning. And so,
Anyway, so let's talk about the person that kind of haunted me. Clear View Mind, in reply to Kirushka1, person who is a total Keith lover. Thank you for always your beautiful...
Here's what Clearview Mind says. Interesting, a screen name for somebody that doesn't really have a clear view of me. He's clearly, woo, there's that word clear, you must like that. To me, nothing is really clear. He's clearly an unhappy man in general. Unresolved past issues. But he's an interesting fellow with a great taste in music. Exclamation point, happy face. That's kind of how I do stuff too. Knock him down and then build him back up. Oh god, that was forced.
Boy, people that know me...
They would be like kind of freaked out. They know that I'm a very, very deep and serious person, but they know I'm happy. And everybody, and in this, I want to quote...
Peter Cruz Tunes, a video I saw of his stuff. I started investigating his music in a track called Copper Harbor. Quotation of Mother Teresa: "Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier."
Well, I feel like that's how I want to be all the time, with everybody I encounter. I always have this kind of haunt, again, also, is the way people pass each other. There's so many of us here, and I go into communities where people acknowledge each other all the time. I look at people in the eye all the time. I have a bright face on, and I acknowledge them, and especially, it's weird to me how certain people can maybe pass each other every single day and maybe have this little Cold War thing. Cold War's weird, but not even acknowledged. So, that's that. Boy. Okay, so the new thing, topics for today. And I wanted to get on, because on Monday I wanted to, like, knock a bunch of these comments out. And I'm enjoying this conversation that's going on of what I'm doing here. And, like, because I don't think I'm an expert. I just like to socialize this way. And, you know, and how I feel about this blog has, the way it makes me feel at times, like, probably 2 years ago, I was going to LA and finding out all kinds of stuff and then running back home to, like, look what I just learned! Was that happy? So, the blog, how I feel about it, the intentions, it's an evolving work, just like my music. You never know what you're going to get out of me, for sure. Isn't the this is from Extra Worldly, and oh, okay, here we go. This comment from Extra Worldly was on my my eating chicken tartare with Truth Calkins video, which happened a little over 2 years ago. And here's the comment: isn't the fact that Truth is changing his protocols all the time mean that he really doesn't know? Just a thought.
Well, certainly in the world of thinking that we know everything, and the tone of my voice, don't act like I'm being condescending, because it's like I'm realizing this stuff on my own. No, I don't think, for me, I don't think this at all. This is why I love Truth, is because he's experimenting, and I don't think anybody has a clear answer on what the deal is. That's pretty obvious to me. And I can tell you a misguided pile of shit that happened in my life, and that was my early infatuation with Viktoras Kulvinskas, which is author of an early raw food book called Survival in the 21st Century, which is a very idealistic book, very hippie. Oh, pulled me in big time. And also, interesting fact is that Viktoras Kulvinskas was working side by side with Anne Wigmore, who in my mind, through my eyes, as I look at her, is a very uptight, puritanical person, and Viktoras. And the cover of Survival in the 21st Century is actually done by Peter Max, who is a notorious hippie artist. Yeah, I believe he actually did the animation to the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. So, boy, did this thing take me in. And I thought that was the whole deal. In fact, on my first 2 CDs, I gave thanks to Viktoras Kulvinskas as extra special thanks. And that was a long time. That was what I thought was the whole deal. There was a lot of concepts presented in there that seemed very like, whoa, that's just pure truth. That's and it was very idealistic. And so I think that like it's interesting to read some idealistic things and take them in and make them a part of your palette, your paint palette, your collection of musical instruments, your paints, your ways that you think. A lot of interesting concepts I read in there. One, for sure, karma-free eating. Whoa, that's one that's another term coined on there, Sproutarian. But quickly back to the karma-free eating, which is very related to fruit. And in the purest form of karma-free eating, a person only ate fruit because that's the only thing that fell when the tree let go of it, when it was on the ground. Because you did, in the karma respect of our life, which is where the Hindu comes from, all that. And I don't believe in karma. Karma is a accounting system that is a penny for a penny, that kind of thing. I don't think it works like that. I do think on a different level is that when you resonate good, you get good, and when you resonate bad, you get bad. But it's not a accounting system, I think, as a lot of people look at it. So, anyways, and I had one of my early mentors really contributed to this, because he was, and this is a person who kind of, a lot of idealistic people that live on a very high level wind up becoming very bitter and disoriented, and in some cases go completely the opposite direction and maybe wind up committing suicide. And Abby Hoffman would be a good example of that from the 60s. So I had this teacher when I was a freshman in high school who was kind of a bit of a hippie freak, lived in Berkeley, and later on became a best friend of mine, and he told me his whole routine of how he ate, which was kind of a sort of karma-free version. But he used to mine through all his food and would not eat a seed because it's the beginning of life. And oh man, how I thought back then, that was a really interesting thing to me. And plus, at that time, he had told me, like, he called himself vegetarian, but he was actually vegan. And I was vegetarian and had been when I actually became friends with him at 20, when I had him as an English teacher in a college class. And then that's when we started hanging out all the time. I was vegetarian, and he told me how he was vegetarian, that he never ate any animal products. And of course, at that time, either I was unaware of it or the term vegan had not been yet coined. And I was like, why would anybody do that? Like, you're not harming the animal. Like, it's just their thing. And so, anyways, that person was very idealistic, great friend of mine, great inspiration to me, and a great poet. And in my memories of him, the good ones, sad thing here, they're amazing. But where he wound up, scary, really, really, really scary. Turned into a mental crazy person. Tried to stay friends with him for a while, kept like just kind of this whole downward spiral of somebody living in such an idealistic fantasy kind of world. And then like, basically, he just kind of went insane. Had a period of doing crystal in the late 80s, 90s. Kind of disappeared for a while, then showed up again. His mother died, who was a great inspiration to him. Great inspiration to me as a musician and everything. I haven't seen him in a few years now, and I've done a number of work, a number of like sort of intuitive sort of processes. I'm pretty sure he's dead. In fact, I'm certain.
So this is a good time for me to explain a Keith term to you. That would be box living.
And that is a concept that most people all over the world subscribe to, of thinking that there's a file, there's a box, there's a list of rules, there's something that has everything that we need to know. And so this is very much related to that comment that today is the day to live. and that's not where I am. And I don't think if I think somebody knew what they were doing, like in a total way, I would be there. And so, and that's just all these points of views. It's all going to come together, but it's just at this point. Terence McKenna once said that when civilization gets kind of crazy, people go back to the last sane moment that they knew. And so there's this sort of, because maybe life was simpler or seemed simpler a long time ago, like a lot of people say, oh, I'd love to live back then or something like that. I'm not like that at all. I love these times that we live in. And I want to tell you something that a friend told me, is that people seem to dwell on things very much. And back when life was harder, you didn't dwell on things. You just had to work your ass off every single day. And it's like if somebody died, like people get wrecked these days over a death. And if somebody back a long time ago, when the amount of work you put in is the amount of survival that you got back, if they sat there and did that, they wouldn't make it through the fucking winter, dude. So, all I'm saying is that we're at a point where we're actually, again, getting at this point of where Terence McKenna talks about, of like technology and all this stuff, well, it seems like a demon, and then it seems like it has its positive sides. It's freed us up to think of a lot of stuff. And so, no, I don't think that at all.
So this is from the KCLN man. Hey dude, so what's truth diet like nowadays? I don't know. I haven't seen Truth in 6 months. I think it's probably pretty much the same. Working with whole food doesn't like, that's a whole thing. The supplementation of the isolates didn't really work for him because, as he said to me, I'm an extremist, and so he likes to kind of focus. The way that he looked in 2010, 2009, 2010, I was very inspired by that. And so for me, I'm doing my own thing. Like it may seem like I completely mimic Truth Calkins, and at one point I did. But what I'm doing now is like, again, it's just this taking what you see as a truth from people and then bringing it into yourself, processing it, and seeing what works for yourself. So, haven't seen him in a while just because, like you heard my whole thing about, and plus he's not at Erewhon. Last I heard he's only there for a day or two a week, and the last time I talked to him was I had an email back and forth with him back in December. So, and what would you eat on a high-fat diet with some herbs for $4 a day? Ooh, that's a rough one. Okay, $4 a day. I don't know where you live, but if that was me living where I live, I would buy the fat, which $4 a day times 15, that would be $60 for a roughly a 2-week period. I would buy coconut butter or ghee, and then I would sprout, and I would forage. And that's something that I'm getting into. I just watched a great video last night of Sergei Boutenko. Kind of not into where they are on their diet, but I'll tell you one thing. Sergei Boutenko is a freaking expert on wild edibles. And I'll post that video up. Oh hell, I'll just throw it on this one down in the D box. It'll be after the song of the day. Hey Keith, this is an old one that I lost when I was on my internet fast. This is Mission to Beat CFS. Hey Keith, I'm completely in awe of your progress. I'm gradually working my way through all your blogs from 2009 since I only came across your stuff last month. I'm also a Truth fan. Legend. I agree. You look so healthy and vibrant now. Your well-being shines through. What has filled out your face so well? I don't know. I just, lots of stuff has happened. The magnetic bed, the not being vegan, not being totally vegan, saying that low fat is right up your ass. Fuck that bullshit. I don't know, just a belief. A lot of stuff. I don't know, you know? And I'm going to do a long video on where I'm at because YouTube has actually gone back to granting me beyond 15 minutes. So, blah, 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 blah. Normally, fat killed off by past meds don't regrow. Okay, so meds never had an ill effect on me. They didn't really do that kind of weird-ass shit to me that they do to a lot of people. And I don't know why that is. There was a lot of things that have always been very historical about my HIV case. Yeah, okay. My antiviral meds, this is a person with HIV taking meds, obviously. My antiviral meds last year for EBV, Valtrex left me gaunt and depressed. You're a living inspiration of recovery inside and out. Why, thank you. And everybody's an inspiration to me. Having friends like this, the real-time friends that are around me are great. I love them. I smile at them. I hug them. But they're not near as inspirational, influential, and make me feel like, get me away from my whole misanthropic ways. The word misanthrope is somebody who doesn't like humans. And I very much have that part of me, although I like to admit love. So in the sense of clear mind, attacking me, or not attacking me at all, there's maybe a way that you're right about that. But the remedy to that is me getting into this. this is a whole other story. The internet has taken me out of my kind of cave. So, yeah. And I'm sorry I missed your thing. Quickly to wrap this up.
Song of the day. Ocean of Fire by Eat Static. Eat Static, great techno band. Probably one of the only true techno rave style bands that has truly interfaced progressive rock with techno. Eat Static song typically, although this is not a good example of some of the earlier Eat Static songs, most songs go with this A-B, A-B, C, A-B structure. So the cool thing about Eat Static, back with the first two records, and this one, Ocean of Fire, is later in their canon, but the great thing about the early Eat Static stuff is it was a true combination of prog rock and techno, because you would start out in an Eat Static song and you would fucking go everywhere and you would never return to that sort of chorus or something like that. So the reason for this is because the leader of Eat Static, Merv Pepler, was the drummer for Ozric Tentacles, a progressive rock band. And so, and Osric is a great one too. We'll have to have them as a song of the day one of these days. But Merv didn't play drums in Eat Static. And this is interesting to me because I played a lot of instruments. I've never played the drums. I've always wanted to play the drums. And drums actually bring structure to music. So it's no surprise to me that Merv turned out to be probably one of the greatest all around, I mean in all styles, UK producers of electronica. So that's your song for the day. Eat Static, Ocean of Fire.